You never wanted to come back here. The rusty sign that reads Heron's Hollow sways gently in the wind as your car slows down on the cracked, uneven asphalt. You stare at it through the windshield, the way someone might look at an old scar, familiar, unwanted, and deep. You were only 10 years old when you left this godforsaken place. Now you're 40, divorced, bitter, and worse, curious. It started with a letter, no return address. Just a name, yours, scribbled in black ink like it had been scratched out of something darker than paper. The message inside was brief. The basement door is open again. She's waiting. Come alone. You told yourself you wouldn't go. You told yourself it was some sick prank. You told yourself none of it was real, and yet. Then it stops. You clench your jaw and force your legs to move. You remind yourself you're not 10 anymore. But you also know what waits upstairs, or more precisely who. Your feet move toward the basement instead. The door is at the end of the hall, half open, revealing the first few steps descending into the darkness. You remember locking it the night you left. The key was buried in the woods, but here it is, open, waiting. You take a breath, flick the light switch, nothing. Of course, you descend slowly, each step groaning beneath you. The air turns colder, wetter, like breathing through damp cloth. Your hand grazes the wall, searching for the rail, but finds only cobwebs. The bottom of the basement yawns open, darker than shadow, darker than memory. Then you hear it. Breathing, not yours, not human. And the door behind you slams shut. You wake up the next morning with a dull ache blooming at the base of your skull. For a moment, you're disoriented. The room is bathed in a strange bluish hue, the light filtered through the thick curtains you forgot to draw back. You sit up, your muscles tight, your skin cold with a sheen of sweat. Something doesn't feel right. You can't remember falling asleep. You glance around the room. It's quiet, untouched, save for the slight movement of the ceiling fan slicing the silence into even parts. You swing your legs over the bed and shuffle into the bathroom. The mirror greets you, but the reflection staring back doesn't feel like yours. Your eyes, there's something behind them, a flicker, a stillness. Like you're wearing your own face like a mask. You lean closer. There's a red mark on your jawline, just below your left ear. A scratch, you don't remember getting it. In the corner of the mirror, something flashes, a blur. You spin around, heart racing. But the room is empty, just the open door and the hallway beyond. Still, that sense of being watched lingers like static on your skin. You try to brush it off as sleep inertia, the aftertaste of a bad dream. But as you turn the shower on and let the steam fill the room, your mind plays tricks on you. You swear you hear whispering behind the curtain. You run upstairs to check the security footage from your doorbell cam. You scrub through the night quickly, nothing. Until 2:13 a.m. there, in the dim light of your porch, stands a man. Or what looks like a man. He's just outside the range of the motion light, face hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat. He doesn't move for over 20 minutes, just stares at your front door. Then he steps back into the dark and vanishes. You freeze the frame, zoom in. Your breath catches the scratch on your neck. He had the same one. You sit there for a long time, staring at the screen. You swing your legs off the bed, feet brushing against the cold hardwood. The room, for all its rustic charm, now feels suffocating. The morning light barely filters through the thick lace curtains. Dust dances in the air, disturbed only by your movement. You stare at the floor, half expecting it to bulge upward. You remember the previous owner mentioning the place had character. That's how realtors say haunted without saying haunted. You think bitterly. But it's not ghosts you're worried about. Ghosts don't drag things under houses. Ghosts don't smell like sulfur and rot. You kneel beside the bed and press your ear to the floor. Silence. Then dash tap ... tap ... scritch. A low thudding pulse, like a heartbeat beneath the planks. Yours, maybe. But you feel it in your stomach, not your chest. It's not natural. Later, you step outside, walking to the crawl space hatch at the back of the house. You hesitate. Something tells you not to look. But curiosity is a sickness in you, and you always scratch the itch. You unlatch the hatch and lift. The darkness is dense. You crouch and shine your flashlight inside. Nothing. Just dirt and beams and a few cobwebs, until your light catches something tucked between the joists. Something not alive, but once was. It's a jawbone, human, split and old. And there's something carved into it. You reach for it, but before your fingers touch bone, the wood above you groans sharply, like something shifting weight. You look up for a split second. You swear you see a face staring down through the cracks in the boards, upside down, smiling, impossibly stretched. Then gone, you slam the hatch shut and back away. Your breath is ragged. You tell yourself it's a hallucination, a trick of the light. But part of you, the part that's seen darker things than this, knows better. That night, the scratching comes again, closer, louder. And this time, it whispers your name. You return to the cabin the next morning, having spent the night in your car again, unable to bear the suffocating silence of the house. But something compels you back, a pull not of logic, but of instinct, or perhaps something older. You keep telling yourself it's to gather the rest of your belongings, but as your boots crunch against the gravel leading up to the door, you know that's not true. The moment you step inside, the smell hits you like damp soil and decaying leaves, but fouler, tinged with something sour. The living room is dark, though the morning sun should have filled it with light. You check the curtains, open, the windows, not fogged. And yet, the shadows linger, stubborn, thick. You hear water, not the usual gentle lap of the lake beyond the woods, but a deeper, rhythmic sloshing. It's coming from the basement. Your stomach twists. You swore never to go down there, but the pull is irresistible now. You descend slowly, each step creaking beneath your weight. The air grows colder, damper, until your breath fogs in front of your face. The basement, once empty, now has standing water across the floor. It's no more than ankle deep, but it stretches from wall to wall, still and dark as oil. You step into it without thinking. A whisper brushes against your ear, not from behind, but from the water itself. You freeze. Then the water ripples, forming shapes like hands reaching just beneath the surface. You look down and see not your reflection, but someone else's, a pale, angular face with eyes too large, lips too thin. It stares up at you with a mixture of pity and hunger. You stumble back, but not before something grabs your ankle. It's cold, firm, and pulls with sudden, terrifying strength. You fall, hands splashing into the black water. The surface breaks into chaos, but the grip remains. You kick, scream, thrash, and then it lets go. You crawl backward to the stairs, panting, soaked, shaking. When you finally look back toward the center of the basement, the water is calm again, the hands are gone. But the face remains, drifting just beneath the surface, watching. You slam the basement door shut and drag the dresser in front of it. The house has changed, no longer just haunted, it's aware. You're not alone here, and the thing in the water knows your name now. And worse, you feel like it always did. You return to your motel room late at night, the keys trembling in your hands, your mind fractured by what you've seen and heard. You don't sleep, not really. You just lay there, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince yourself that the face in the mirror wasn't real, that it wasn't your own face, grinning at you with eyes that didn't blink. Morning comes with no fanfare, just a dull gray light and the weight of exhaustion, but something pushes you forward. You decide to follow the last clue from the notebook. The house with no windows remembers what you forget. It sounds absurd, yet you know exactly what it means. There's a crumbling building on the outskirts of town, one you always assumed was abandoned. But now you realize you've seen it in your dreams. Too many times to be coincidence. You drive in silence, past dying cornfields and the same burnt-out billboard that once advertised the town's only movie theater. The house stands like a wound in the landscape, tall, warped, its surface blackened by time or fire. No windows, no signs of life. You park your car several feet away, engine still running, in case you need to leave, but you know you won't. As you approach, you feel something twist inside you. A cold, sticky sensation, like your blood turning to glue. The door is unlocked. You push it open, and a groan echoes through the empty structure. The darkness inside isn't just a lack of light, it's a presence, heavy breathing. You step in, and the door slams shut behind you. There's nothing in the house, no furniture, no stairs, no rooms even. Just one long hallway that stretches farther than the building's exterior should allow. The walls are lined with framed photographs of you. Childhood pictures, teenage years, but also moments you don't remember. You in a hospital bed, you standing beside a grave. You laughing with people whose faces are blurs. You understand that the house isn't showing you memories. It's showing you what's been taken. You walk down the hall. It's made of skin stitched together with dark thread, pulsing with each beat of the mirror's command. You don't want to go through it, every cell in your body screams to leave. But you place your hand on the fleshy surface, and it parts like wet fabric. On the other side, the air smells like antiseptic and rot. You're in a hospital room, not a clean, modern one, but one out of a nightmare. Rested beds, blinking red lights, the sound of an EKG monitor flatlining in the distance. A nurse with no eyes pushes a cart past you. You wonder until you find a room with your name on it. Inside, you see yourself comatose, hooked to machines. A calendar on the wall is stuck on a date from years ago. You recognize this place now. You were in a car accident. You were in a coma, and the town, the motel, the mirror. It was all part of this, your mind trying to fight its way back to the surface. But something's wrong. You realize you're not fighting to wake up, you're fighting to stay asleep. Because something in the real world is worse than what you've seen so far, you step closer to your body. And the EKG monitor spikes. Your reflection in the metal pole beside the bed smiles. That same too-wide grin, it leans in and whispers. They're not done with you yet. The world cracks like a pane of glass under pressure, and you're pulled back into the hallway of the windowless house. Alone again, you hesitate before stepping forward. The air growing colder with every inch you descend. The hallway before you is narrower than the others, its walls choked with black mold and its ceiling sagging as if the hospital itself is groaning beneath a weight too heavy to bear. Your flashlight flickers again and you give it a desperate shake. The beam steadies, but just barely. At the end of the hallway, you find a rusted metal door unlike the others, no window, no sign. Just a deep vertical scratch as if something had clawed its way out or tried to claw its way in. You take a breath and push. The door groans open on hinges that scream in protest. Behind it is a spiral staircase that descends into darkness. A wave of air hits you, damp, metallic, and strangely sweet, like rotting fruit mixed with blood. You gag, covering your nose with your sleeve, but press on. Each step down feels like a betrayal of your survival instincts. Your heart pounds, and the walls close in tighter. The staircase seems endless. A bundle of rags. At first, you think it's a pile of old blankets, but then it shifts, breathes. It's a body, a woman, maybe skin leathery and tight against her bones, as if mummified. But her chest rises and falls, slow and steady. She's alive. You step closer, against your better judgment, until you can see her face, eyes shut, mouth sewn shut with black thread. Her hands are folded across her chest, and her fingers twitch as you approach. You want to run, every nerve in your body is screaming to turn back. But then you hear it, not out loud, no. It's inside your skull, a voice, whispering. You've come so far, haven't you? Don't stop now. The woman opens her eyes. And they are not human, no irises, no pupils. Just an endless white void, like looking into a blank sky. She stares at you, and though her mouth cannot move, her thoughts fill your mind like a flood. She remembers you. Not you now, but you from before, from another time. Another life, you feel memories, not your own images of blood, ritual, sacrifice. The woman was once a healer, or a priestess, or something darker. And you were her follower. Casting no warmth, only shadows. You try to reassure yourself, telling yourself it's just another empty space, another layer to peel back in your search for truth. But something is wrong. The living room is a time capsule of chaos, furniture overturned, pictures on the wall shattered, and a thick, cloying smell lingering in the air. You sniff instinctively. It's gasoline. The scent curls into your nostrils, sharp and undeniable. You glance around, trying to trace the source, and you spotted puddles of the liquid trailing from the hallway into the kitchen. Your boots squeak as you step carefully over them. The house was prepped to burn. You follow the trail, your pulse pounding. Every step brings you deeper into a reality you don't understand. In the kitchen, you find the matchbox half empty, discarded on the table like a relic of guilt. You imagine someone standing here, hesitating with a lit match in hand, debating whether to erase the evidence of whatever horror unfolded, but the match was never struck. A sudden sound makes you freeze, footsteps upstairs. Your breath catches. No one should be here. The house has been abandoned for over a decade, the doors warped, the windows sealed with plywood. You look up, the ceiling creaks. Slow, deliberate, and then the silence returns. Your instincts scream at you to leave, but your legs betray you. You ascend the stairs, one by one, careful not to make noise. At the top, a long hallway stretches out in both directions. Each door ajar, like gaping mouths waiting to swallow you whole. You turn left, a child's room. The walls are covered in peeling wallpaper, clouds and stars faded into oblivion. A crib sits in the center, its slats crack. There's a blanket draped over the edge. You walk closer, kneeling to inspect it, and then you freeze. It's wet. You recoil instinctively, standing up too fast, knocking over a rocking chair that had been tucked in the corner. It topples with a loud crash, and in the echo of that noise, something else begins. Music, a soft lullaby. Distant but unmistakable. It doesn't come from a radio or a phone, it comes from the air itself. The melody is warped, as if played underwater, but you recognize the tune. You've heard it before. You don't know where or when, but it triggers something in your memory, a sense of loss, of crying in the dark, of cold hands on your shoulders. You back away, the lullaby follows. You exit the room, shutting the door behind you, but the music continues, now louder, like it's chasing you down the hallway. You descend the stairs two at a time, the old wood groaning under your weight. You stumble back into the kitchen, gasping, gripping the counter for balance. The matchbox is gone. Your eyes widen. You could swear it was right there. You didn't move it. No one else was. A whisper cuts through the room. Burn it down. You spin around. No one is there. But on the wall behind you, freshly written in soot, are 3 words you cannot deny. Finish what started, and in that moment, you realize you're not just uncovering the past. You're becoming part of it. You don't know how long you've been lying in the dark. The walls are soft now, almost like they're breathing, as if the house itself has grown flesh. Your hands tremble with each heartbeat. You try to move, but your body is sluggish, as if something inside you resists the command. You're not alone anymore, not in your mind, not in your skin. The voice, it's inside you. It doesn't scream like before. It whispers now, gentle, persuasive. Let go, stop fighting. You're only hurting yourself. You crawl down the hallway, or what used to be a hallway, now a twisting organic tunnel pulsing with red and purple veins. The floor squishes beneath your palms. Something warm seeps between your fingers. A pulse echoes all around you. You gag, then you hear the scratching. First faint, then louder. Claws against flesh and wood. The sound of something trying to dig its way out from behind the walls, from under the floors, from inside your chest. Your breathing becomes ragged. All their faces droop like wax, all reaching out with hands that twitch as if pulled by strings. You crawl backward, heart hammering. But the floor opens beneath you. You fall not downwards, but inwards into yourself. You step back from the cryptic note found in the music box, the words still echoing in your head. She watches still, where shadows never end, with each passing hour. The manor feels less like an empty shell and more like a living, breathing entity. You decide to return to the attic, the one place you've been avoiding since your first unsettling visit. Something tells you that answers and perhaps the final horror wait there. As you ascend the creaking stairs, flashlight in hand, the air thickens. The temperature drops drastically the moment you reach the attic door. Your breath turns visible. The wood of the door groans as you push it open. The attic is just as you left it, dusty, suffocating, and littered with memories long since abandoned. But now something has changed. There's a massive object hidden beneath a moth-eaten tarp at the far end of the room. You approach cautiously, heart pounding, pulling the tarp away. A large, ornate portrait is revealed, taller than you, gilded in cracked gold leaf. It's a painting of a woman in black Victorian mourning dress, sitting with a child on her lap. Her eyes are a hollow void, painted in ink darker than pitch. The child's face has been scratched out violently. Your stomach churns. The woman in the portrait, her shape, her aura, it matches the shadow you saw watching from the end of the hallway nights ago. The one standing behind you in the mirror, the one that hummed a lullaby. As you stare longer, something impossible happens. Her head begins to turn toward you. You stagger back. Your flashlight flickers, then dies in the darkness. You hear the attic door slam shut behind you. "Stay with me," a voice whispers in your ear, feminine, cold. You whirl around, frantically searching for the source. But the attic is shrouded in blackness. Then, footsteps, soft, deliberate, circling. You rush to the door, grabbing the handle. It doesn't budge. You pound against it, scream, but no one hears. No one ever does. Then, a sudden crash behind you. You spin, flashlight clutched like a weapon. The portrait has fallen forward. The canvas is torn down the middle. The inside of the frame is empty, nothing but the wooden backboard. You realize with growing terror that the painted woman is gone. A sharp exhale brushes your cheek. She's here. You collapse against the door, heart thundering, and finally, it creaks open. You tumble down the stairwell, scraping your arms. You don't look back. You can't. If you do, you fear you'll see her crawling toward you on all fours. Only when you reach the second floor do you dare to breathe. You glance back up at the attic door. It's wide open. You're dressed in scrubs, gloved hands soaked in blood. The patient on the table is you. Your own chest is open, heart exposed, barely beating. You hear the doctor yourself shouting at the nurse for the scalpel, but the nurse is faceless, and the room starts to melt like wax under heat. You're ripped back into the chamber. Thrown onto the floor, the mirrors around you begin to shatter, one by one, as if breaking under the weight of too many realities. Pieces fly past your face, some slicing your arms, others embedding into the walls. Only one mirror remains intact at the center of the room. It's smaller, more like a hand mirror, set on a pedestal. Unlike the others, it shows nothing. It's black. A void. Your reflection fades into view slowly only. It's not you. It's the man in the hallway, the tall figure you've seen glimpses of. He looks at you with dead, sunken eyes, and raises one finger to his lips. A voice booms around you, not his, not yours, something older, deeper. The truth of your existence lies beyond this glass, but every truth comes at a cost. You hesitate, your instincts scream to leave, but your curiosity, your desperate need to know who you are, overpowers it. You reach for the final mirror. As your fingertips touch the surface, it pulls you in. This time, there's no resistance. No scream, just silence and darkness. When you open your eyes, you're in a white room, bright, clean, sterile. A hospital bed sits in the middle. and machines hum softly nearby. You see your body, the real you, lying comatose. Monitors show signs of life. Eyes drip fluids into your arms. You're inside your own head. This is a coma dream. But something's wrong. The room has no doors, no way out. And on the walls, in blood, a message begins to scrawl by an unseen hand. You came too far suddenly. You're not alone. The man from the mirror is here again, standing beside your bed. Only now, he speaks. You wanted the truth. Now you'll live with it. He raises his hand and the hospital room begins to collapse into itself, like a crumbling memory. You scream but no one hears. You've gone too deep. You descend the last remaining flight of stairs, a steep and narrow spiral that disappears into utter blackness. The flashlight trembles in your grip, not from exhaustion, but from the mounting dread that's become a second skin. Each creaking step reverberates like a scream in your skull. The air is impossibly cold down here, not just damp but glacial, like the breath of something ancient sleeping in stone. You reach the bottom and step into what appears to be a cavernous basement, except this is no ordinary foundation. The walls pulse faintly, as if alive beneath their cracked cement skin. The silence is not absence, it is watching, breathing. Rows of old gurneys line the sides, covered in decaying sheets. Chains dangle from the ceiling like vines, clinking slightly without any wind. Then you hear it, a soft, melodic hum, a child's voice, familiar, too familiar. You turn toward it, and what you see and more is your sanity. It's the version of you from childhood, 8 years old, standing barefoot in a torn hospital gown, humming the lullaby your mother used to sing when you were scared. You see a room like this one, years ago. You see nurses, doctors in panic, screams, flames, and your own hand pushing open a door that should have stayed closed. You opened it once, the child says. And now it's open forever. Suddenly the walls split open with dozens of tiny seams, and through them, hands begin to pour, blackened, broken, twitching hands. They claw at the floors, the ceiling. Reaching for you, you turn and run through a corridor that wasn't there before, panting, heart slamming against your ribs. Every door you pass slams shut behind you. Every light above flickers and dies as you approach. And that voice keeps singing your mother's lullaby, now warped, slowed, like a record being melted in reverse. You burst into another room, slam the door behind you, and collapse to the floor, shaking. You hear breathing from the corner and raise your light. There's a mirror only. You have no reflection. Just the dark hallway behind you. But you're in a room, alone. Or are you? Your hand rises involuntarily to touch the glass. And from the other side, your reflection appears smiling, but it doesn't stop at smiling. It steps out. The air turns colder as you descend into the earth, the narrow staircase groaning beneath your feet. The flashlight flickers again. You hit it, curse it, and press on. The stairwell ends at a thick metal door, rusted, sealed with bolts, and covered in what looks like dried blood and handprints. There's a scraping sound behind you. You turn. Nothing. You're not alone, but you've come too far to turn back now. You manage to pry the bolts loose. The door creaks open, revealing a chamber large, circular, carved into raw rock. In the center is an old hospital gurney, and around it, symbols etched in ash and bone. Every wall is covered with photographs, the same girl from before, her face in every decade, never aging. You spot it then, the black book, the same one the old patient whispered about. It's open, its pages flipping on their own. You move closer, the pages stop, your name is written there, the exact date, today. Suddenly, the temperature drops, a shadow rises behind you. A face you've never seen, and yet is eerily familiar, opens its eyes wide and speaks in your voice. You were always meant to return. Pain stabs through your head. Memories flood back, a ritual, a sacrifice, a promise. You were here once. You died here once. The truth crashed down. You are not an investigator. You're the final piece of a cycle. You volunteered for this long ago. You sealed yourself into this story, left clues for yourself to follow. You had to forget, or you would have never come back willingly. The room begins to shake. The gurney levitates. The photographs peel off the wall, swirling into a vortex of screams. The girl appears, but now her face is yours. You run, but the door is gone, only stone. The legend says no one who enters the hollow ward ever returns. But that's not true. You returned. You always do. They say the building is abandoned, but sometimes, on quiet nights, townsfolk hear a voice, your voice, whispering from the ground. A voice that sounds like it's trying to remember.